Greetings, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for the MITx MicroMasters in Supply Chain Management webinar, Pathways to a Master's. We're grateful to have with us today Dr. Eva Ponce, the Executive Director of the MicroMasters program here at MIT Center for Transportation and Logistics. And we have three presenters from the MIT Pathways schools. I'm really glad that you are all here. I see you on the screens, and hopefully the people who are joining on Facebook and in the webinar can see you as well. Briefly, I'll outline today, we're joined by Amy David. She's a clinical assistant professor of management at the Krannert School in Purdue University. And we have Van Hao Trieu, Director of Master of Information Systems Program at Deakin University in Australia. And we have Nick Barter, Academic Director of Griffith Online at Griffith University in Australia. So we'll be talking today about the various programs that accept the MicroMasters credential for credit. First, I'd like to ask you to participate in a poll that's on your screen. How many MicroMasters courses have you completed? And if the poll doesn't come up right away, it will come up later in the meeting. And we'd love to find out from you how many courses you've actually completed. Since you started the MicroMasters, it could be 0, it could be up to 6. After we hear an introduction with Eva, I'll introduce the presenters, and with the help of Lu Zhang and Sam Varney, who are off screen right now, we will be answering questions from you, the people on the webinar. And you can ask those questions using the Q&A feature. If you hover near the bottom of your screen, there's a little Q&A button, and if you press on that button, then you can ask question and answer. And if you're dialed in by phone only, I would encourage you to dial in using a screen so that you can ask questions. So Eva, may I turn it over to you?
Yes, sure. Welcome to this webinar. My pleasure to be here today. First of all, I want to start with an opening question. So are you wondering where your MicroMaster credential in supply chain management can take you? This is the question we are trying to solve or to answer during this webinar. So let's start talking a bit about the MicroMaster in Supply Chain Management. Yes, and about our mission. So our mission is to raise the knowledge of supply chain management professionals across the globe. And our mission is to educate the world for free. That's why we are providing this MicroMaster program to anyone from anywhere. And we have learners from all across the world. The second mission here is to offer a rigorous credential for qualified learners at a very affordable cost, at a minimum cost. And the third mission we have is to offer a pathway to a graduate education. And this is what we are going to talk today. This blended option that we are offering is the most innovative educational initiative at MIT. President Rafael Reif announced in fall 2015 the first MicroMaster ever. This is a way to that is going to revolutionize the education and the landscape in education. Since this announcement in fall 2015, we have more than 300,000 learners that join our program. 22,000 of them are verified learners. 11,000 earn at least one certificate in at least one of our SCX courses, and we have to date 1,800 MicroMaster credential holders. These MicroMaster credential holders, these people that already earn this credential, are those who can apply to different master's degrees across the world. The blended program that was announced at MIT, this one that we are pioneering here, is a hybrid model. Is a blended model. The first part is 100% online, the MicroMaster, and the second part is one full semester on campus at MIT. This means 5 months here, full-time, working on campus to earn the Master of Applied Science in Supply Chain Management degree or the Master of Engineering in Supply Chain Management degree. Same thing, other universities across the world, and we have now more than 20 universities across the world offering pathway for credit for those who earn the MicroMaster credential in supply chain management. And it's our honor today to be joined by Griffith University, Deakin University, and also Purdue University. And they are going to talk about the things that make their program unique, the things that make their program special. And these are opportunities for all of the MicroMaster holders in supply chain management. So I'm very happy to have them joining today. Before giving them the floor to them to talk about their programs, I want to finish my presentation talking a bit about the future and why here at MIT we are pioneering this blended model or this blended option for educating the world. We are doing that because we believe that we are moving toward an omni-channel model, a hybrid model, a blended model that satisfies learners' needs, one very important thing, but also a model that combines the best of both worlds, the best of the online education and the best of the on-campus education. That's why we are moving into that. And the picture that I'm sharing in this slide is a picture from one of our learners. He's Leo. Leo took the final exam for one of our courses, supply chain technology and system, in a remote place in Ireland. This is the place that you are seeing in this picture. He was in a car with a laptop and internet connectivity, taking this final exam. After that, he completed the comprehensive final exam at the end of the program. He applied to the MIT blended master degree. He got admission and he graduated last May 2019. So this is an example of how education is changing in the world and how the new models, the new formats, and the combination of online and on-campus is bringing non-traditional students to our campus and to this new way to educate people. So this is all from my side. Thank you so much. Now, what we are going to do is to learn more about different opportunities at different universities.
Thank you, Eva. That's perfect. And next we'll hear from Amy David at Purdue University. So get ready there, Amy. And I just wanted to mention that the poll is live for those people. There's a few of you who still haven't filled it in. If you wish to, please do. It's a pretty even percentage rate. Only a few people have taken only 2 courses, but there are 27% of people that have taken 4 and another 27% that have only taken 1 course. And there's about 20% of people who've only taken 0 courses. So thank you for joining us for this webinar. I know you might be at the beginning of your educational journey and it takes a lot of planning, so I'm really glad you're here. And then over to you, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the pathway from the MITx MicroMasters to Krannert, which is the School of Management here at Purdue. We offer a Master of Science in Global Supply Chain Management. It is a 30-credit program, and the MITx MicroMasters credential will allow you to waive 10 of those credits, so you'd be taking 20 credits from us. So a little bit about Krannert and why you might consider finishing your degree here. The first is that we have an international reputation in supply chain management. Krannert is, as we said, at Purdue University. It is a school long known for engineering and manufacturing, and the business school was founded as a school of industrial management. That means that our roots in supply chain, in production, in operations go very, very deep. In a practical sense, that means we have a large supply chain management faculty, and that means that we're able to offer a wide selection of courses here. Some of the things that we are offering, we have a lot of electives like sustainable operations is one of our newer electives because that's one of the things that employers are asking for. Service and healthcare operations, advanced operations. Personally, I teach the SAP course where we go through and learn about supply chain technology in that setting. So having a long-standing reputation in SCM allows us to really offer a strong student experience and a strong connection to employers as well. Some of the biggest employers in manufacturing come to Krannert specifically to hire our supply chain students. One of the features of our program is faculty-directed experiential learning components. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in more detail on the next slide. We also have a global flavor to our program. We have partnerships with universities in Taiwan, China, and India. And some of those universities send students to our campus in the fall and for one semester. And that allows us to have a very diverse student body when we're talking about global supply chain management topics. We try to make the program truly global, touch on intercultural learnings and things like that beyond just the quantitative part of supply chain. Finally, we do have the STEM designation for our program. For folks who do not have US work authorization, you might be eligible for the extended OPT. We would need to talk through the details of that case by case, so I'm not making any promises, but typically a lot of our students are able to stay and work for 3 years post-graduation, which makes it much easier for them to find employment in the US if they'd like to. Returning quickly to the experiential learning piece, this is a key component of our program. Some students complete this through regular employment, and then they're advised in a specific project by faculty members at Purdue. Other students remain on campus and they are assigned to a project, a consulting project for a company, sometimes in the area, usually regionally throughout the Midwest, Chicago, Indianapolis, etc. We get a wide range of projects, sourcing, transportation, warehousing, lots of different things related to not just supply chain and operations management, but also process development, project management, program management, etc. So we do guarantee students that if they don't have employment or an internship, we do guarantee that we will find them a project to work on for credit. Just a few of the names you've probably heard of that we've worked with lately: Caterpillar, Pepperidge Farm, UPS, Southwire, GE Aviation. Purdue is located in beautiful West Lafayette, Indiana, which is maybe not as famous as the location of some of these other schools, but it is an extremely, it's a hot spot right now for advanced manufacturing. So we have the GE Aviation plant is new in town. There is a Rolls-Royce aviation plant coming in. As I said, we have Caterpillar, and there's a lot of manufacturing and a lot of supply chain going on right here in the Lafayette area, even though we're kind of a smaller Midwest city. So let me now talk specifically about what it looks like if you apply to Krannert with the MicroMasters credential. We are willing to waive the GMAT and 10 of the 30 total credits. So instead of taking 30 total credits in our program, you would only have to take 20. You can either attend in the summer and fall terms or in the fall and spring terms in order to earn those 20 credits. Our program fees are by credit hour. And so the reduction in credit hours, taking 20 instead of 30, means you would save 1/3 of the cost of the program. Here are our 2020 program costs with that adjustment, adjusted for students who are only doing 20 credits here. Obviously, this is the current tuition. These go up maybe 3 to 4% every year, but currently you can see the costs there. About $16,000 for an in-state student, and then 19 out of state, and about 30 for international students. What are we actually looking for? In order to waive those 10 credits, we are expecting to see an 80% or higher on each MicroMaster module, as well as the comprehensive final exam. It's an all or nothing. We don't do partial credit if you pass some and not others, but we'd like to see at least an 80% on each module. Of course, then you would need to fill out our standard grad school application, which is pretty standard transcripts, essays, recommendations, video essay. As I said, we will waive the GMAT. We will want to see language scores if you did not do undergrad in an English-speaking university. But that's, as I said, pretty in line with what most universities want for graduate admissions. Our application deadlines are March 1st for international students and May 1st for US students looking to arrive in fall of 2020. So with that, I will jump from the slides. I think if I do this correctly, it'll put me back in view. And I will go ahead and open up the floor for questions.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's a very quick and perfect overview. And I wanted to say you can see the questions yourself in the chat, or I'm happy to ask them to you from the chat if you'd like.
Let me just take a look. Well, I did get the comment. Yes, Subaru is also nearby. That's one I didn't mention. And we do have a Fazoli's. That is an important thing to note. How many students are admitted to the master's program? Mm-hmm. We admit about 60 students per year in total. And so the MITx MicroMasters students would be a part of that. So your application would be considered amongst the total population of students.
Mm-hmm.
What else have we got?
Yeah. Another question is, have you waived the undergrad GPA limit?
Yeah, so undergraduate GPA is one component of your application. So if we see someone has been successful in the MIT MicroMasters, typically we would take that as more recent and therefore more predictive of success in graduate school. So of course we'd want to see undergraduate transcripts. We might have some questions in the interview, but traditionally at our university, if there's one point of the application that we're uncertain about while the rest of it is strong, typically we would advance to the interview stage and then ask about that and try and figure out what may have caused that weakness.
So at MIT, we're honoring the MicroMasters credential for up to 3 years on an application to our master's program. Do you have a similar time limit or a different one?
Oh, I am not sure that we do. I think the program is new enough that we have not thought that all the way through.
And then how do international students apply for the program? Is it any different from folks who are residents of the United States?
It is not any different. We do have earlier application deadlines because it is taking increasingly long to get the visa stuff squared away.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And Jonathan Cow asked, and other people on the call might be interested, will this be recorded? We're broadcasting live on Facebook now, so a permanent record will be there. And then within about a week, we'll have this on our live YouTube channel, and we'll send it out to all the folks that have signed up for the webinar. We'll get a recording, a link to a recording.
Amy, you have a question from Joshua. He said, if you have a successful candidate in MITx but have less than 80%, will this be considered? Yeah, right now, the way that we grant the credit is for 80% or better. If we have had students that have not achieved that 80% and they have opted to apply anyway, and we consider that as part of their application, we've waived the GMAT for them, but we have not allowed them to actually waive the 10 credits. So they've completed the full program, and we look at the MicroMasters as part of their application that tells us they're probably going to be successful in graduate school. Great.
And you mentioned earlier that there's a English language requirement. Does the university have a standard for TOEFL or IELTS?
We do. I believe it's a 7. Is it a 7.5 overall with nothing less than a 7 on any of the individual bands?
Yep, and we can send this out after the fact too. That's a very specific question. We have about 2 or 3 more minutes before the next presenter. Is there anything that you feel like you want to add that was missing, or maybe some last minute questions will come through?
No, but as long as it was asked, I do have the TOEFL in front of me. We're looking at for 20 on writing, 22 on speaking, 18 on listening,
Great.
22 on reading, and total bandwidth of 93. And then the IELTS, yeah, overall band score of 7.5 with 7 for each section.
You know, I was born here and I don't know if I could accomplish that, but we'll. Anything you'd like to add before we go to Van Houw?
Yeah, I think the final thing I will say is that we've had a lot of success in the program in recent years with students from a lot of different backgrounds. Mm-hmm. So if your background is in English or philosophy or tourism management or something like that, we find that maturity and motivation are really the things that develop a successful grad student more than any specific subject area knowledge. And we've designed the program to have some workshops and things like that to get students quickly up to speed on some of either statistics or Excel or some of the things they might not have. So I really do encourage students to apply no matter what their background is. I think that there are a lot of people who cross over and have been very, very successful, both in the program and then in job placement post-graduation.
That's a great point, Amy. The MicroMaster is open to anyone from anywhere, and it's also a great way for them to come at least with these basic foundations they need to know in supply chain management. But again, it's for anyone from anywhere. So that's a good point and a great option for them.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
We have 2 additional questions, but I want to move on to the next people. So Nick and Joshua, we will get your questions answered in a follow-up email about scholarships and the interview process, but we'll get those answered just so we have enough time for Van Houw and Nick, and we don't run out. We may return to that again at the end. Thank you so very much for being here, Amy. And next, if you could mute yourself, and we'll move on to Van Houw Trieu, joining us from Deakin University in Australia. And thank you for getting up so early in the morning. I really appreciate it. And you'll have to unmute yourself. There you go. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Arthur and Eva, for having me here today. Just wondering if everyone can see my slide here. Yeah. So my name is Van Houw Trieu. I'm from Deakin University. I'm very happy to be here today to talk to you about the pathway to master degree at Deakin University. Specifically, the pathway to the program Master of Information System and Master of Business Analytics. So firstly, I would like to talk briefly about Deakin and Deakin Business School. So Deakin University is one of the top 50 young university in the world. And we are among the top 1% of university worldwide. Deakin Business School, here we are accredited by Griffith and ICSB, and we have a very good reputation in MBA program and Master of Information System, as well as Master of Business Analytics. We are located in Melbourne, a beautiful city in Australia. The weather here is a little bit cold, but in summer it could be really, really nice. So at Deakin University, we recognize your prior learning. Specifically, we recognize your learning with MIT MicroMasters program credential. So if you have successfully completed an MIT MicroMasters program, you may get credit for up to 4 units in several Deakin Master degree. So specifically with Master of Information Systems, so if you have successfully completed an MIT MicroMasters Supply Chain Management program, you may be eligible for credit for up to 4 units in the Master of Information System. So the 4 units are 2 core units and 2 elective units. So foundation skill for data analysis, supply chain management, and logistics. The other 2 elective units are descriptive analytics and visualization. Also decision modeling for business analytics. So the Master of Information System has been developed in response to the rapid growth in the use of information system and application by the businesses and governments internationally. The course duration, it really depends on your professional experience and your previous qualification. Your Master of Information System degree can be 1 year full-time, equivalent to 2 years part-time, which is 8 credit point degree. Also 1.5 years full-time, so 1.5 years full-time or 3 years part-time, you will gain 12 credit point master degree. Another one will be 2 years full-time or 4 years part-time, you will gain 16 credit points. Also, just note that Deacon courses can be studied part-time over a longer period. So it's quite flexible. If you join the Master of Information System, you can choose to study on Burwood campus in Melbourne, or you can join from cloud. So at Deakin University, we have a really unique campus. We call it Cloud Deakin, which is you can study online, and we have a really advanced IT platform to support online students. The course structure consists of 11 core units plus 5 elective units that make up 16 units. For the details of the course structure, you can access via the link. I'm sure that you can get the slides from MIT's staff. So here's the list of the core units of Master of Information System. So it's 11 core units plus 2 0 credit points unit. Those 2 units you will study at the beginning of your enrollment. So only 3 hours unit, but that provide you an overview of the course and also how you can navigate the system at Melbourne, at Deakin University in Melbourne. The elective units, it is very, very flexible. So after you have done 11 core units, you can do 5 credit points for elective units across the different specialization. So it depends on your interest. You can study some units in consultancy experience, cultural experience, entrepreneurship experience, or industry-based learning, or you can join internship, working in the industry, working with organization in the industry. The specialization units also include accounting, HR management, business analytics, marketing, finance, and other financial planning units. So it's quite flexible depending on your interest and your future career. We offer a number of university specialization. So we are very, very happy to provide students with different options, and you can join us from different backgrounds. So we don't limit any specific background from students. So that is the Master of Information System. How about the Master of Business Analytics? So at Deakin, we also offer Master of Business Analytics, and we recognize your prior learning at MIT. So similar to Master of Information System, so if you complete MIT MicroMasters Supply Chain Management, you may be eligible for credit for up to 4 units in Master of Business Analytics. So you will be eligible for 3 core units and 1 elective unit. For 4 units, we will convert it into 4 credit points, and you will have to finish 16 credit points in total. Now, the Master of Business Analytics, similar to Master of Information System, we offer your study at Burwood, Melbourne, and also on Cloud Deakin as well. The course structure, it consists of 12 core units and 4 elective units that made up 16 credit point unit. So if you have done MIT MicroMaster, you will have to do only 12 units, then you can get in the Master Business Analytics. Similar to MIS, Master of Information System, the course duration is 1 year full-time or 2 years part-time. You will get 8 credit points. If you do 1.5 years full-time, equivalent to 3 years part-time, you will gain 12 credit points, and 2 years full-time, 4 years part-time, you gain 16 credit points. Or you want to choose to study part-time over a longer period. So it's quite flexible here at Deakin University. So here's the list of the core unit. With Master Business Analytics, we have foundation skills in data analysis. We have value of information system, descriptive analytics and visualization. Also, we offer the predictive analytics, decision modeling for business analytics, so decision analytics in practice, business intelligence, marketing analytics, database and information retrieval, real-world analytics, more modern data science and machine learning. So you can see that we have a lot of deep learning and teaching in analytics, and we are known, our department is known for business analytics area. And 90% of the students who are doing Master of Business Analytics and Master of Information System get job during or right after their graduation. So the employment ratio in our degree is really high. So for Master of Business Analytics, you will have to do only 2 elective units, which is Business Analytics Project and Research Project 4. And this unit is worth 2 credit points. And you will, with the Business Analytics Project and Research Project, you will do real world project. You will work with the industry partner, with our industry partner and organization to work on their own business problem.
Van Hao, I have to interrupt you for just 1 second.
Sure.
Just to keep things going, I know Nick has to leave just before the top of the hour, so we've taken about 10 minutes. Would it be okay to jump to about 5 minutes worth of questions with you? Or do you have a lot more?
No, I just have maybe 1 more minute
Great.
to talk about the entry requirements. Yeah.
Thank you.
So the entry requirements of the master degree for 8 credit points, 12 credit point master, and 16 credit point master, we have listed on the slides. So please feel free to access to the slide or let me know if you need further detail. English language requirements. So at Deakin, the language of instruction is English. So we have specific requirements for English if you are non-native English speaker. So the details also listed on the screen, but I would like to highlight that for the English requirement, such as IELTS or TOEFL, For IELTS, we require overall score of at least 6.5 and no band less than 6. So fee and scholarship, we also offer scholarship. So for the detail, please access to the slides. And the fee, we also have that very specifically for each master degree on the slide as well.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so where to start is here. So I have instruction here, then I won't go through by detail because the link is provided. So we have four steps in here. You need to find the course, understand the entry requirement, gather supporting document, and submit the application.
Great. And we'll be sharing these out after the webinar so people can get all of the contact information and that sort of thing as well.
Yep, thank you. And here's the contact detail. So if you have any question, please contact us via this information. And now it's time for question and answer. And I'm sorry if I take up too much time.
Excellent.
Nope, not at all. You answered one question already about tuition and scholarships. Can you tell us anything about the career support or advisory that you have?
Yep, so career support, we have different talent. So we have a department here taking care of students who would like to apply for job or would like some help with the connection with the industry partner. So we have a group of staff here seeking the job opportunity for students, and they will help students to practice interview or get them ready for job application.
Wonderful. And I might ask another one. Thomas is asking to apply for a master's program, if a person has 10+ years of professional experience but doesn't have an undergraduate degree, would they be considered?
With this question, it will be assessed case by case. So if we get the application, the admission team will assess that case by case. It will really depending on their experience as well as their score in previous study. So should I stop sharing my slides to get the question? Okay, so I got a question here from Victor. So I noticed that the two programs that has been presented so far are targeted at candidates who have completed MicroMaster. Are there programs in today's webinar specific to candidates who have completed SCM? I think that one's for MIT staff.
Yeah, we'll answer that one in the chat. Sorry, I was muted and I was speaking.
Let's move.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so very much for joining us today. And next, I'd like to move to Nick, who's also in Australia at the Griffith University, and I think you're there. So I'll let you have it.
Thank you very much. I'm going to just hopefully share it's given me the option of not sharing what I want to share. Okay.
It's no problem.
Hang on a second.
And Victor will answer you through the chat.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can see some slides in front of you.
We can, yep. And when you go full screen, then we'll be...
Let's try them. Okay, so hopefully you can see a big picture.
Great.
Great. Thank you, everyone. My name is Nick. I'm Academic Director of Griffith Online. Griffith Online is, just to place that, is part of Griffith University. Griffith University has 50,000 students across 5 campuses in Southeast Queensland. Those 5 campuses are really based in 2 major conurbations. One is Brisbane, which is the capital of Queensland, a city of about 3 million people. The other is Gold Coast, which is a city of about 500,000 people. And the Gold Coast is on the beach. And I mention that because it's a big pull for a lot of our international students who want to study and have a great time on the beach too. And just one final thing, if you don't know much about Queensland and Southeast Queensland, it's subtropical. So at the moment, we're in our summer. Our summer, we'll see temperatures rise to 37 degrees C during the day and drop to about 22 degrees C at night. And in our winter, which is in the Northern Hemisphere summer, our days will rise to about 24 degrees C and our temperatures at night will drop to about 11 degrees C. So if you like blue sky every day and warm weather, we're the place to be. But let's shift on. We're going to tell you a little bit more about Griffith. Griffith is obviously, like all the universities here, ranked among the world's best universities. I can't remember which, whether we're top 1, top 2, top 3%. You know, the key point is, I think, with every university here, you're going to get a quality education. We offer over 200 degrees, and we do that through 4 groups that we're split into: health, business school, sciences and engineering, and then finally arts, education and law. And I won't roll too long on those, other than to say the business school is the degree that you get credit for from the MicroMasters. And our business school is founded on 3 principles of responsible leadership, sustainable business practices, and an Asia Pacific focus. And the degree we give you credit into from doing the MicroMasters is called the Masters of Business. And up here, when they share the slides with you, this is a link that'll tell you all about the details of the Masters of Business. It'll tell you, you know, entry requirements. It'll tell you what you need to know as a domestic student. So if you're an Australian citizen or a New Zealand citizen applying, or somebody with permanent residency in Australia. And it'll tell you all you need to know as an international student as well. And a lot of things that have been covered by colleagues, such as IELTS pathways or English standards, etc. You'll see all that, and those things are pretty standard across most universities in the world. So, you know, the 6, 6.5, whatever it is what you need to be going for in that kind of area. Key thing to say, the Masters of Business is a 2-year degree. That matters, particularly for international students, because it means that there's post-study work rights. And those post-study work rights in Australia, I think it's 2 years that an international student gets. So 2-year degree means there's what we call 16 courses in the program. So you'll notice as students, you might have noticed different language. Some universities, for example, use units and courses. We use courses and programs. Perhaps the simplest way to say it is there's 16 subjects in the degree. I think everybody kind of understands that. The Masters of Business is based at our Gold Coast or South Brisbane campus. So that means that if you want to be by the beach, you can be at the Gold Coast. If you want to be in urban conurbation, you can be in Brisbane. And then we have 16 different majors in that degree. The majors are built off around a core of about 8 units. And I'll give you a little bit more about that now. And then the last thing to say is there's a dissertation pathway available. That can be particularly interesting for some international students if you want to go on to do a PhD and stay in Australia longer or do a PhD with us. These next 2, what I want you to see here is there's a lot of different majors, okay? So accounting through business law, through digital business, through blah, 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 all the way through to over here on the right-hand side, there's a supply chain management major. And the MIT supply chain course provides 2 courses of credit into that supply chain management major. And then the rest of the courses you would do in the Masters of Business would either be, you could potentially do, I think, another major, but the core is built around sustainable business practices and leadership in sustainable business and global sustainable business strategy and the like. That is probably all I wanted to do in terms of giving you an overview. I've gone into much less detail, perhaps, of my colleagues, but as I say, the link is here, and that's where you can grind through the details of everything. So I'll leave it there, I think, and I'll stop sharing.
That's great. Thank you so much for that. I love the overview. I like how you outlined sort of the environment that people will experience if they come to your university. Can you tell us a little bit about the employment support, if any, or any kind of career support? I know Australia's hungry for talent these days.
Yeah, the career support would be, in terms of, I think as part of that degree, I need to double check, but you can do work integrated learning as well. So you can actually kind of get a little placement in an organization. And then in terms of the career support, we have a big, well-funded careers office. So all of those things are fully available, and particularly for international students, those things are in our university amped up more than they would be for domestic students, if you like. So we're really focused on finding those pathways for international students. I can't give you too many details because, as you can hopefully understand, it's not an area I wander into very much, but I know there's plenty of it because I see plenty of it around. So, yeah.
Great. And then there's a question about student life resources. So do you have any indication where we would want to point people if they wanted to find out more about student life? Oh, gosh. Now, I presume by student life resources, I don't know, what would somebody mean there? I mean, I'm making sense of that as being counseling support, where to live support, those kind of things. I think you can certainly probably Google student life on the Griffith website, and it'll tell you all that you need to know about that. Because again, most of our international students will end up in like our on-campus accommodation, and then they have heavy counseling support and all the rest of those things that they need, and even additional English tuition and all the rest of it that people need. So. And then anything you'd like to tell us about scholarships or the financial part? Oh, I think the thing to remember with Australian education, or particularly for international students, all education, it's not cheap. You know, it costs a significant amount. I think our degree for an international student is going to cost in the region of about 40 to 50,000 Australian dollars, which is not an insignificant amount of money. Scholarships are available. And again, if you Google scholarships, we have kind of lots of general scholarships. I don't think there's one specific to that program or to that degree. But what I would advise every student is apply for scholarships, because you'll be surprised how few people apply for scholarships. So just applying, you've already upped your chances amazingly well. So. So one last piece. I know you have to go in about 2 minutes because you got a bike to work for a meeting, which is great. I'm a little bit jealous as it's about 0 degrees Celsius here in Boston. So we're kind of envious of the Gold Coast. But what about just a quick overview of the entry requirements to the Masters of Business? Is it language requirements, that sort of thing? Oh yeah. So it'll be fairly standard, as we've heard from our colleagues as well. You need an undergrad degree. You'll need to be hitting a particular GPA in that undergrad degree. I think baseline entry is typically around 4.5 to 5 in terms of a GPA. That's out of 7. And then you'll need the standard English language requirements as well. For the Masters of Business, you don't particularly need work experience. You can have significant work experience. And whether there's an alternative pathway for work experience, there probably is if you're a domestic student, but probably isn't if you're an international student. And that will be because of visa requirements. So with visa requirements, you'll typically need an undergraduate degree. You can't rely on work experience in the same way that you could if you're a domestic student. So. Great.
Excellent. That's great. Perfect.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for being here. I'm guessing you're going to go blank soon, which is no problem, but we're going to stick around with the other couple of folks to say goodbye. I'm hoping everybody can see us again on their screens. I just want to thank you for your attention today. After this webinar, if you want to receive follow-up from any of these universities, please take the exit survey from the webinar, because that will indicate to us who you want to receive follow-up from, and then we'll send your information to those folks that you're hearing from on the call today. Do you have something you'd like to add?
Yes, I wanted to thank Amy, Nick, and Van Hou for sharing the details about your program to our learners. I think it's great for MicroMaster credential holders in supply chain management to have many different opportunities across the world, depending on what they want to study next, how they want to academic grow. There are many different options. So I really appreciate that you share the details, the unique thing for your programs. That's all. Thank you so much. Encourage our learners to complete the MicroMaster credential holders and to continue growing and learning more about supply chain management. So yeah, that's great.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.